Consegui falar com um preparador mental americano, Ben Merkling.
My name is Ben Merkling. I'm a sports psychologist.
E para mim foi uma coisa muito gratificante porque eu sempre admirei muito todos os atletas americanos.
But oftentimes the only difference in that sort of a time frame is our mental side.
Ser frio se traduz realmente na questão de preparação mental. E eu estou super feliz em mostrar para vocês uma conversa com um preparador mental americano. Could you tell me, like, you mentioned something about the first throw, like of 3 points, and you're saying, oh, if you miss, you kind of like ask yourself, why I missed? Like, was my jump, was my hand, was my leg, what happened? And this happened to me, like sometimes if I just go compete and I start seeing people, I'm start like with this negative self-talk. Am I able to do what they're doing? Like, what could we do to avoid or reducing this negative self-talk?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think the preparation part is huge. And I think this is where mental preparation can be a really big thing for athletes. If we can get our mind in the right place, we are more likely to shake off those thoughts. If we're telling ourselves a lot of confident things and we're encouraging ourselves, we will have fewer of those thoughts. And when we do have those thoughts, we'll be able to release them a little bit. I think where we get into trouble is when we're not confident. We have those thoughts and we believe those thoughts, right? When we are confident, we have those thoughts and we dismiss them like, no, I got this. I'm gonna do this. And so a big part of it is making sure that we prepare our mind correctly, that we are doing the visualization stuff, but we're doing the self-talk, the positive self-talk beforehand. And when we have that negative self-talk, we respond to it with positive self-talk and focus on letting go of thoughts. The best athletes that I talk to are masterful at letting go of thoughts, right? They make a mistake, they let it go. They feel slightly intimidated for a second, they let that go, and they're just letting go and refocusing. So I think we prep our mind correctly so that we are going to experience less of that, and then we get really skilled at letting go, having positive self-talk, and focusing on what we have to do.
Yeah, actually this week I start like trying to pay attention to myself when I'm like thinking about these things that can go wrong that you mentioned, like try to refocus to things that actually is gonna work out.
Yeah.
And even to programming, like today I was like in a big issue to solve, and actually, oh my gosh, I was just thinking like what could be, and like a plant of things come to my mind, and then I was like, oh my gosh, let me like focus to something that I can do to like make sure that I go in the path to solve. And it really helps, like, because it gives you like the first step to the good thing, and then you like kind of just think like about the positive path or positive like outcomes. Was amazing. And I'm trying to practice outside of my visualization or meditation, because as you said, like the more I practice, the more prepared I will be, right?
That's right. And you're spot on. I mean, you want to be thinking about the things that you do want to happen, not the things that you don't want to happen, right? And golfers talk about this one a lot, where they, if they're playing on a hole and there's water off to the right, and they're a little worried they might go in the water, they need to be thinking, hit it in the fairway or hit it over there. If they think don't hit it in the water, they hit it in the water, right? It happens over and over and over again. So yeah, you got to focus on what you do want to happen, not what you're afraid might happen.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes we have this mindset to other like fields of life, like I have a friend that like with everything relate to work, he's super positive, like, no, we're gonna deliver on time. But maybe in other fields, if he's playing, he doesn't apply that. He's not like so positive to the outcomes in a game, So if we try to practice in other fields, I think we're gonna be well prepared.
Yeah.
Game or competition, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so there is a big thing on the sport Ben, that I think is gonna help a lot of people is like because it's like in a horse, a lot of people has like fear of getting injured. You know, it's kind of dangerous if you look, and it's not just pretty easy to do. And I know that a lot of people they may not mention that, but I feel fear when I'm not really skilled, and on my right hand I'm not well skilled as the left. And be honest here, I sometimes I freeze because I'm afraid of getting injured. So what could we like do like on mental preparation that would kind of help us to overcome this fear?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I'm glad you asked it. So I work with a lot of athletes who are experiencing some sort of mental block, right? And oftentimes it is related to fear, right? Like I work with like gymnasts, for example, who are tumbling through the air and they're worried they're going to fall and hurt themselves, right? And what you're talking about is no different. So it's really understandable that you have that fear. And what we find, actually, we've talked about the two strategies that I recommend already. Visualization is huge for that, right? Because we can see ourselves going through that experience and we can see ourselves being successful with it, and we're more likely to do it successfully if we envision it. And you know, the thing with the visualization is to get the most out of it, you want to feel everything that you'll be feeling in that situation. You want to, you know, you want to have your eyes closed and visualize, see everything you're going to see, almost hear everything that you're going to hear, have all the emotions that you're going to have too, right? And so if you're doing it really, really well and you're going through something that's a little frightening, you'll feel that when you're doing the visualization, right? And then you see yourself and you feel your body doing what it needs to do, and you get through it successfully. And now you just overcame the fear and pulled it off, right? You did what you needed to do. And that's going to help you do it when you feel afraid in real life, right? So that visualization is so important, and it helps so many athletes when they're trying to work through freezing up or mental blocks or whatever they want to call it. So that's a really, really big one. And then the other big one that I talk to athletes about is again, that focus, right? And making sure we have our focus in the right place. Oftentimes when we're afraid, again, we're thinking about the wrong stuff. We're thinking about the things that we're afraid of happening, or we're focused on the fear itself and the feeling of it. It's be a little uncomfortable, our heart's pounding, and you know, our mind is racing and all of that. And what we need to do is we need to get really, really good at redirecting that focus onto the task in front of us, right? With that fear, sometimes we just got to breathe through it, and you know, just pace our breathing so that we're not, you know, getting too worked up, and then just focus on what you need to focus on.
Mm-hmm. Ben, then like meditation would be something that help on that, because at least what I practice now, I'm trying to practice a different one, and it's kind of hard because all the others that I did, it always had some like cue that I was following, and it kind of helped me not like wander, my thoughts wander. I would be more present, and now I'm trying to like zero meditation, that just like pay attention to my breath, and sometimes it's like what you're doing, right? Like meditation, you're trying to keep attention to something, and thoughts will come. Like there is no way to block that, but you just like let it go and come back to your breath. So maybe that would be something helpful, to at least, I don't know,
Yeah,
I'm trying out
no,
that. Yeah.
you're absolutely right. And you know, meditation has kind of been a secret of the pros for a long time. And now it's not so much of a secret because they're starting to talk about it a little bit more. But I think that it works so well because you're right. It helps you kind of stay calm and develop your ability to be calm. But I do think the biggest benefit of meditation is exactly what you described. It is developing the ability to have all sorts of thoughts and let them go and refocus, right? And so ideally, we want to have that exact mental skill set when we're competing. Got to let go of all kinds of things and refocus on the task at hand.
Amazing. Ben, I remember you mentioned like before that when you didn't know about mental prep, like just because you're gonna go in a competition, you wanna actually listen like to songs that are like upbeat, and but you're already anxious. So it actually doesn't help much. Could you talk more about that? Like, because sometimes people, I just want to get pumped, and they will put like that electro like music
Yep.
upbeat, and they will just get worse, you know?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I can tell that story really briefly. I played basketball, throughout the first 18 or so years of my life, maybe a little bit beyond that, but not as competitively. And I didn't know a whole lot about mental prep. I knew that I had to prep my mind in some ways, but I didn't know how to do it effectively. So I had always thought, if you want to get ready for a game or competition, you got to like really get amped up, right? Like listen to like upbeat music, loud music, and just get pumped. The problem was that I was already on the anxious side. And so my heart was racing even without the music, and my mind was spinning even without the music. And then you turn on this really hard hitting music, and it blew my energy through the roof. It would take me, the first, quarter of the game to settle down before to actually make a shot. So if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would tell myself, hey, you're already anxious. You're already amped up. You need to actually settle down a little bit. You need to like work with some of those thoughts, meditate or something, or listen to some music that's a little bit softer or slower or something to kind of even myself out a little bit. So I went about it all wrong. And I actually see athletes doing that all the time still. And so that's one of the things that I'm working with athletes on right away. It's really important. This mental prep stuff is all really, really important because, that confidence is, it's contagious. And if we can start a performance really, really well, we can be confident throughout the rest of the performance, right? So we got to start strong, and we got to give ourselves a chance and get our mind in the right place to start strong.
Yeah. And like, actually, you have to watch yourself, right? Like, sometimes you're gonna be super relaxed. Maybe you could get let's say a song, if you have this on your routine, that could be a little bit more like upbeat. The tempo could be faster and loud, but most of the time you're gonna be a little bit anxious, and mainly if it's the beginning of the game, right? Like you didn't give any shot yet, so you don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe you're gonna have like something that's calm you down, right? So
Yeah.
really watch yourself and like know what works for you. There is no like a rule or recipe that you can just follow to everyone.
That's exactly right. Everyone, you really have to figure out what works for you. And this is interesting. I see a lot of variation between sports in terms of how much anxiety a person wants to have, right? And how amped up they want to be. For example, in football, a linebacker who's hitting people right really hard, they want to be just energy through the roof. A golfer who's got to make a 4-foot putt to win a tournament wants to be pretty relaxed, right? And so it's a little bit different for everybody between sports. And then there's individual differences where you got to kind of know what's my ideal level, and you have to kind of try to find ways to get yourself to that level, whether it's ramping things up or toning things down.
Amazing. Ben, I think it's already like invaluable what we talked here to people. I know that it's gonna be a game changer. I hope people like start practicing, because I talked to a guy, for instance, and I was saying like visualization actually worked for me. Like I had that amazing experience, and he was saying, "Oh, I did visualization," and I was like, "How is it going?" He said, "No, I did once." So
Yeah.
So like everything, like don't think you're gonna like meditate one day and you're gonna change your life, or you're gonna do visualization one day and it's gonna change. But
That's right.
I think you explain them like very detached way, like very easy to understand. I think people will understand actually what is mental prep, because I did a video and I actually didn't know how to express myself, because like for like some time ago I didn't know what was I experienced, like I didn't know that was mental prep that helped me. So I'm really happy like to have you here today, and I hope we could do like some more advanced videos in the future. I'm sure people will love. So
Yeah.
I hope you
I
join
would love
again and help us.
I would love to. I'd love to. Yeah. And, you know, if anyone has a specific topic that they recommend, I'd be happy to cover that and give my best thoughts on that too. But yeah, it's always fun talking to you about this stuff, and I could go on and on and on. So maybe we can do another one sometime soon.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, man.
All right. Thank you.
E o que é meditação? Na verdade, eu não posso aqui te falar alguma coisa que vai dizer o que é meditação. Existem trilhões de tipos, de variantes de meditação, mas eu achei muito massa que o Ben foi bem assertivo quando ele falou nessa questão de meditação. Acho que a coisa mais importante da meditação é isso, é você ter algum pensamento negativo e você deixar ele embora. Até ele falou, os melhores atletas que eu conheço, eles são mestres em, quando vier esse pensamento negativo, e isso a gente é humano, não acha que vai ter alguma fórmula, alguma coisa que você faça que não venha pensamento negativo, mas ele falou, o melhor atleta é aquele que vem um pensamento negativo e ele deixa esse pensamento ir, e ele não deixa isso afetar a confiança dele. Ele vem um pensamento e ele, beleza, pensei nisso por um segundo ou dois, ele ficou consciente de que ele teve essa dúvida, mas ele deixa isso ir embora. Eu acho que o principal benefício de você meditar é isso, porque você não vai deixar que fatores externos ou qualquer outra coisa que pode acontecer durante a vaquejada, cavalo, ou pessoas, ou esteira, ou locutor, ou juiz, qualquer coisa que venha para você de forma negativa, você vai deixar isso embora e isso não vai afetar sua confiança. Eu acho que para mim esse é o maior benefício, sem dúvida nenhuma, da meditação. Eu achei muito massa outra coisa que ele falou, que é para complementar a meditação, mas é como a gente se preparar. Então, às vezes a gente quer, sei lá, se concentrar mais dentro da vaquejada. E o que é que você deveria fazer? Ele falou que um dos principais erros é o seguinte, se você é uma pessoa que está ansiosa, ou você é ansioso, ou você não é ansioso, mas você está ansioso naquele momento que você vai correr a vaquejada. Então, se você colocar, porque tudo que a gente pensa assim de concentração, foco, é colocar uma música bem animada, onde tem um batimento bem rápido, e isso, na verdade, vai aumentar a tua ansiedade. E se você tiver com medo, vai talvez aumentar o seu medo. Então, você tem que entender, pô, será que eu sou uma pessoa muito fria? Será que eu sou uma pessoa muito ansiosa? E até, por exemplo, se você se preparar com música, a música vai interferir nisso. Então, se você é ansioso, coloca uma música mais calma para equalizar, diminuir sua ansiedade. Mas se você é uma pessoa que é muito fria, você entra às vezes até meio molengão assim, uma música mais rápida, com um batimento maior, na verdade, iria te ajudar. Eu acho que isso é uma super sacada. Até a forma de você se preparar depende de você ter que, lógico, se conhecer, mas não é uma regra que é só música animada, não. Pô, se eu tô ansioso, a música animada vai me fazer ficar mais ansioso ainda, e é pior. Os pensamentos vão estar a mil, e dentro da pista provavelmente eu não vou ter um melhor desempenho. Então, escutar uma músicazinha mais lenta, que vai te dar realmente essa frequência mais lenta, vai te acalmar e vai diminuir essa ansiedade, vai diminuir esses diálogos internos negativos, enfim, tudo isso. Outra coisa, agora voltando um pouco para a meditação, é o seguinte, eu acho que a meditação tem um valor enorme, mas eu não acho que você vai fazer meditação uma vez. Eu acho que meditação tem que ser algo que você tem que treinar. Eu treino há algum tempo, às vezes quando eu deixo de treinar eu não treino muito bem, eu me sinto diferente, eu sinto que as coisas vêm, às vezes eu não deixo esse pensamento ir, às vezes eu nem percebo que o pensamento negativo está na minha mente para deixar ele ir. Então eu acho que a meditação é algo de longo termo, é um investimento de longo prazo que vale muito a pena. Não só para o esporte, eu acho que vale para tudo, até saindo da vaquejada. Mas se você pensar na vaquejada, a meditação vai te ajudar bastante nessas coisas que você, talvez, pré-competição, aconteça, de vir esse diálogo interno e você realmente não perceber isso e tirando sua confiança. Quanto mais você meditar, você vai deixar esses pensamentos ir, você vai, na verdade, mudar esses pensamentos negativos para um pensamento positivo, e eu tenho certeza que você vai ter resultado mais consistente. Por quê? Não adianta você, beleza, tem um cavalo ótimo, mas numa vaquejada eu tô morrendo de medo, tô ansioso, não sei o que vai acontecer, e você não desempenha melhor. Mas imagina o contrário, você com sua mente sempre preparada, e aí você está eliminando aquela coisa que a gente fala, a gente não pode depender dos outros para ter resultado, a gente tem que focar no que a gente tem controle, nossa mente a gente tem controle, então bora focar no que a gente tem controle para ter os melhores resultados. Bom, espero que você tenha gostado desse vídeo. Para mim eu fiquei super animado quando ele aceitou fazer esse vídeo, porque eu acho que a gente está trazendo algo muito novo para a vaquejada, mas que eu tenho certeza que dá um resultado excelente, porque na vaquejada às vezes a gente quer dar muito de durão, dizer que não fica nervoso, que não fica ansioso, mas a gente é humano, todo mundo, é normal ficar nervoso, é normal você ter estresse. Você vai para uma vaquejada com um problemão no trabalho, um problemão em casa, provavelmente você não vai desempenhar bem, mas imagine se você tem isso, todo mundo tem esse problema, mas você consegue, com preparação mental, entrar na pista e deixar esses fatores externos para lá e você desempenhar o melhor que você sabe dentro da pista. Eu tenho certeza que com preparação mental é a chave, é uma das coisas chave, sem dúvida nenhuma, para você ser um vaqueiro consistente, um vaqueiro que você tende a ganhar mais e mais vezes. Eu acho muito difícil alguém ser 100%, a não ser que ele corra só uma vaquejada ou duas e ele ganha as duas, beleza? Mas quanto mais você correr, a probabilidade de você perder é maior. Só que quanto mais você correr preparado, eu acho que a sua consistência vai tender a ser maior. Obrigado, até o próximo vídeo.